I'm going to be doing a general reading, and it's going to be for the collective with the intentions of just helping everybody feel clarity. I've been getting a sense lately within my own personal life and also feeling this within the collective in general is that we're all, at least I can speak for myself, kind of yearning for what the next step is. What the next step is, and asking Spirit, what is the next step? Where do I go from here? And it can be individual, it could be anything. Like maybe you're looking for a new house. What's the next step I need to make to achieve finding the place where I want to stay? Or even just within my personal growth. What's the next step? What's the next thing for me to do, Spirit? Careers, jobs, like anything, really. But within my experience, in asking Spirit these, what's the next step? Where do I go? In clarity of where do I go from here? It's not exactly that I don't receive an answer from Spirit. It's more just like there's been a silence, and I take that silence as an answer. Silence is an answer, but I'm also getting a sense that I should that it's not. Hopefully, silence is not an answer this time because this will be an interesting video to make. But I'm going to do a reading into this, and hopefully I could bring some clarity into people's lives and even my life and see what comes up. What's the next step? Where do we go from here? In our own individual lives, whatever you need this for. Okay, so let me just get into it. Close my eyes. Center into these intentions. What can you share with the collective, Spirit? People who are wondering, where do we go? Getting a sense that this also has a bit more depth than I had first felt at first. We, at least in America, and definitely other places as well, but I live in America. I could really just speak for what I'm seeing currently in our political. There's a political side to this, and it's not exactly the political side that's they're wanting me to feel into. It's more just the effects of how it's affecting people's minds and energies in their hearts. And there's a side of this that's disappointed in the results of our current political candidates and different sides that they. I'm pretty sure you're aware of what I mean, but people who are disappointed and they're not exactly sure what to do now. And even with themselves, like outside of the president's election and all that stuff, like where do they go from here? Like there's a fear to this energy. This has more depth than I anticipated, but that's okay because there's also a stirring. And there's something that Spirit is wanting to share here about this. Not specifically the politics, but so far I'm getting a sensation of something. It's like it's like I'm holding onto a rope that's tied to, it's kind of a cartoony-esque scene. How can I put this into words? I'm holding onto a rope, and the rope is attached to something, whether it's like a truck or a boat that's driving really fast, and I'm holding on, trying not to let go of this. I don't want to let go of this truck or the boats. I want to stay attached to it so that I don't fall, because if I fall, it'll be very painful. And it's very cartoony in the sense that when I hold onto this rope, I'm like flailing in the air like I'm kind of a toy, really, hanging on to this thing. It looks like Toy Story. But I feel my flailing a little bit more, and I feel that there's a reason for that. It's like I don't feel very grounded in myself, almost like there's a lack of stability somewhere. This whole scene is very choppy. Like and it's impacting like this area of my head. It's impacting a lot. a lot of stuff coming up from this that's making it hard for me to see. But I breathe it in and then just let it go. But I still stay with it so I can see it. And so far I see that I'm hanging on so desperately to this thing that's feels like it's moving so far away from me. And I know that I'm going to have to let this go. I know eventually I'm going to have to let this go because I'm also starting to realize that this thing is not going to stop. Like it's at the end of the road, it's just gone. I've lost this. I've lost this thing. I'm starting to feel a deep sadness about that. I've lost this thing and I have to let it go. Well, why in this scene am I not wanting to? I mean, well, I explained that in the beginning. It's not exactly that I'm not wanting to be brave enough to let this thing go. I can. It's just more like within this scene. It'll also be very painful if I do that as well. It's not exactly that it'll just emotionally impact me, but it'll also be painful. It'll hurt. I will let go of this truck that is pulling me in the air. I let go of it and I crash onto the road and I'll get a bunch of bruises and cuts and maybe even some broken bones because of how fast we're going. The truck can't even go this fast, but it's a truck in the scene, but sure. And I'm questioning, should I even take, like I know without the pain, I could take a leap of faith within myself to let this thing go and deal with the emotional turmoil of it. But now I'm asking if I would feel like the pain of this physically almost. Like it's so deep emotionally that I'm physically struggling with this. Can I take a leap of faith of still letting it go, even with that aspect? And I'm in the shoes of the collective here. I put myself in the shoes of the collective, and I want to see what it's like to let it go. Because not letting it go is just this lingering sensation of what do I do, and this fear and the quickness of life just passing by, and I'm not making a decision here. And I don't know specifically what it is that I'm letting go of. It could be something that maybe the viewer, you watching this, could understand within your life. And maybe I could even personally, what am I not letting go of? I could think of a lot of things right now. But whatever it is, I'm just hanging on so tightly to this. But the most obvious answer is to let it go. Just let go of the rope. But again, there's so much that'll come with that as well. But I put myself in the shoes of the collective and I do it. I let go of the rope and I just let whatever happens, happens. And I immediately feel like the pain of just watching that go, the truck leave away. The truck, the boat, it's gone. And it didn't even hurt as much as I thought it would physically. And I kind of wish that it did. Because I would at least know that, okay, my arm is broken. I know what to do. I don't know how to heal a broken arm by myself, but I at least know that I need to go to the doctor and that they would help me. And I will have to have a recovery process, or maybe I got a scratch or a really bad scratch. And there's a healing process that'll work on its own. The body will naturally start to heal on its own with the help of you, of course. But still, there's like a natural process to that. But I don't have that. I don't have the physical aspect of that. I just have this emotional, energetic thing that's lingering, and I don't know what to do about it. Because it's not going away on its own, and it doesn't feel natural. It feels like the main point of this journey is I don't know what to do about this. Okay, so I'm within this now. I ask Spirit, okay, what can I do with this? What can I do with this? Because I did let the thing go, but really I didn't. Like it's still here, it's still impacting me. How do you let go of something? It's not in my life anymore, but I'm still being impacted by it. I'm still, in a way, suffering. Like because of it, it feels like a suffering. And it's not. I put it in quotes because it's like maybe I'm not. I put it in quotes, but it's almost like it is. It's kind of genuine. It genuinely is a suffering for a lot of individuals. There's a suffering within this. Yeah, I feel it. Uh, Again, there's a lot of depth, but I ask again, okay, Spirit, what can we do? Hmm. I'm allowing this image to form a little bit more before I communicate about it. Because I'm getting a sense of an image, but I am, again, letting it form because it's a little hard to express. And a part of the image at first feels like there isn't a solution. I'm sorry, but it's what it's expressing for now, is that there isn't a solution, and who am I within that reality? Who am I within the reality that there isn't, that I can't mend this, but also I can't mend this because there's nothing to mend. It's kind of like I'm determining that there is something to mend, that there is something wrong here. Maybe within my own being or my relationship with this thing that I've been letting go of. That could also mean that I did the thing I was wanting to achieve, so there's nothing else to mend. And maybe what I need to do now is to just let myself sit with this and grieve. Which, in a way, grief has a way of working as a bruise, a physical bruise, like I mentioned before. It has a natural healing process that will allow itself to heal on its own with your help, of course, but there is this natural process of it doing that, and maybe our help is just to allow ourselves to sit with this. Not exactly go anywhere, not exactly do something specific, but to just be with ourselves right now. And I honestly, I bring a bit of my own personal honesty within this, and I express the spirit. Well, I mean, uh, it's hard to feel satisfied with that answer. It's hard to even feel satisfied as someone who's trying to give something to people watching this video, the collective, something that we can use, that we can work with. And the answer is that, well, within this scene that they're showing me now, that there's nothing even to mend. And whatever is there that's being felt, it's not exactly wrong. I guess me determining that it's wrong, me determining that I don't exactly know where to go and that I'm trying to go somewhere in this process, and that being difficult and hard, and there's a suffering to it, means that shouldn't be within my being. I need to do something for this suffering and this difficult experience to not be within my being, and I made this step to get to where I'm trying to go. I overcame the hump. I overcame the thing. But this isn't something to overcome, it's like just something to be with. And in this scene, I express, well, that sucks. That sucks. I don't want that to be the case, but it is. And so, yeah, there's a resistance to that, and there's a struggle, and that's what keeps it in this same constant place of just like, man, like, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? I'm being told that I shouldn't actively be trying to get out of this. Like, what? I shouldn't be trying to get out of this suffering. I'm supposed to sit with this. But yeah, I mean, yeah. When I look at this suffering and this expression and this pain as grief, then it makes sense. It makes sense. Like I'm grieving. Maybe the collective is grieving something lately. I think about like even something on a simple level of just trying to find a job, a career that fits me. Oh, it's not just a job, but like a career where I can see myself doing for years or like a long time that isn't just supporting me financially, but I can say that I enjoy. And I haven't found that. And I haven't gotten to that place within the future where I took the steps to be able to get there. And now I'm outside of the uncomfortable feeling of not being there yet, not knowing yet, not even knowing who I am yet. There's an uncomfortable feeling of that. And maybe there's a suffering within that that's building up over time. And the grief sets in after you maybe even let go of different ventures. You've tried different ventures, but you let go of them. You've tried seeing if this could fit, but it just doesn't work out. And maybe that's where the grief is setting in. Because what do I do in life? Like, you can't just fully let go of it. You got to keep trying. You have to do something. At least that's what a lot of people feel like. That's what I feel like most of the time. I can't just let go of this fully. But I've let go of different specific ventures that I thought would be good. And I thought that I would be happy doing. And also, the financial aspect of it. But, there's the grief. So maybe the grief sets in. But Spirit here is showing it's not about getting to point A from point A to point B. There's something in the present that we're avoiding, that we're trying to get away from within ourselves and within our perceptions of how we're trying to live our lives currently. That we have all been trying to live as a collective, a way that we've all been trying to live as a collective for a while now, for years, for centuries, and we're still trying to maintain this way of living because it works, and there's a system to this that we have to because I don't see any other options I'm not seeing any other options, so what else do I do here? It's complicated. But those options could be found within ourselves. I mean, that's how the first structure of how we're meant to live anyways was found within ourselves. We thought of it. But in a way, us trying to leave the present moment and get into from point A to point B is preventing us from seeing something. And I am sharing this wisdom as a voice to try to bring something into people's lives, but I'm also sharing something for myself. Like, I'm even looking at this like, okay, well, what is it that I'm missing? And I don't know, because I'm in the shoes of the collective. I'm in this with everyone else. So I allow Spirit to continue. Look, what else with this? So yeah, it's like another thing to let go of, just another thing. I don't think you're meant to let go of the future. I think you're meant to let go of some idea that I'm holding on to within this space. It's like a concept of what life is supposed to look like, and even present, past, future. It could be possible that they could all exist right now, and I'm already in this space where I'm meant to be. And the thing that where I'm wanting to go is, I can find a different way of going about it. But I'm going to have to sit with where I am right now and allow myself to work with this grieving. And the suffering, in a way, it'll heal on its own also when I work with the grieving. Because I'm able to sit with it, to stand in this and be brave enough to be able to just let myself grieve and find a place where I'm okay with that. And I'm not suffering because I was only suffering because I wasn't okay with it. And I'm sitting with this for a little bit longer because I want to see if anything comes from this, what sprouts out from this. Whenever I do sit with this, there's something that Spirit was explaining and communicating, that there's something we're not seeing because we're not allowing ourselves to sit with this. So I'm allowing that thing that we're not seeing to sprout its way open when I sit with this. What are we seeing? In a way, I'm the more I sit with this, the more I really fully see the collective in a way that I wasn't before. I was seeing the collective as kind of just a first person experience. I'm in the shoes of the collective, but right now I'm really seeing everyone. And I'm feeling that this experience of mine, it's not that I thought it was unique, I thought that I was alone in this. Maybe I did think I was alone in this, but I'm starting to really see that this is something that everyone is experiencing. But for some reason, we're not allowing ourselves to see that. That everyone feels the same way here, that something isn't working anymore. There's something in what we're doing that's not working anymore. And I don't have the answer. So I ask one of these other people that I'm seeing within this space, well, what's the answer? And they do the same thing I do. I don't know the answer, so I turn to this person. What's the answer? And we're all communicating. We're all starting to do this, and it's like a wave of just movement across space and time within the whole collective that's starting to see each other and finally ask, well, what could we do differently? And we start to experience, I feel a sense of there's different answers, there's different sides, but the thing that we're doing now that's different is we're actually listening. And someone gives an answer that I don't like, but I don't respond. I don't say, well, no, I don't like that. I feel like we should do. I don't do that. I just listen. It starts with just listening. Like, what's everyone think? And once everyone's given their thought about this, we just think about it. Like, okay, there's some similarities. Even as with how different and how much you may not like another point of view, there's some similarities, and you can find the center point of what we all want when we just listen. It's not going to be on the surface, because on the surface it just sounds like me communicating from a place of, I'm feeling this way right now, and I want to get from point A to point B. But in the center of this, within my heart, within the root of this, is where I can generally find what could be an answer, even for the collective. And we're starting to find that by listening to each other, and not providing anything after that, not communicating anything after that. And nothing that anyone in this space has communicated so far is exactly the answer, but there's an underlying similarity with all of this that sounds like it's the answer, and it's that I listen for it. I'm listening for it because it's subtle. And it's kind of this, like what we just achieved here, to see ourselves as a collective, and there's going to be people within this space that have different opinions, different views, some very drastic and some that needs a lot of healing, deep healing. It would be very difficult for us to all be in a space like this and be able to genuinely listen to everybody, because there are some souls and humans and everything that need genuine, deep healing. And that healing that isn't there yet is expressed in very, very bad things, very difficult to listen to and see, very violent things. But we aren't looking away from those people. We aren't throwing those people away. We're still seeing that that's a part of the collective within this space. That's still a part of the collective. That's not a group of individuals that we separate and we're the collective, and they're some individuals that are not a part of the collective anymore because they're too unorthodox and abnormal to be a part of this. No, they are a part of the collective. In a way, they're a part of me. And that's the subtle thing that in a way that I was trying to listen for, is that our perception of how we're seeing each other. There's a lot of separation, even in politics and anything. With anything, there's separation everywhere, and it's not exactly that is a bad thing. Like it's going to happen inevitably. Like it's happening right now within this scene. There's going to be people who have different opinions and views, and not everyone's going to feel the exact same way, and everyone is going to have an individual personality and be different intentionally. It's meant to be that way. But we're still, I'm getting to the point where I'm still, none of that really separates me from these people still, because they're part of this collective unit that's able to listen to each other, that's able to still hear what this person has to say. And I'm starting to feel like the more I do that with all these people, it's like less of a burden to look at all of this stuff that I've been looking at before. It's less of a burden, it's less heavy, like it's kind of nice to experience this with other people. To be able to be together like this and have other people see the differences in me and still hear me, and vice versa. And it's nice. It releases some sense of a burden. It releases the suffering for sure. It allows the grief to heal. And the grief in turn turns to love and support of one another. And I'm hugging this image and I'm thanking Spirit for this, and I come back to a place where I'm more grounded in my life, in my expression of what human experience looks like, and how does this look on a simple surface level? What does this look like? And maybe it might not look like anything. Maybe this is like internal work that we're all doing that's already being worked out on its own. Which definitely, I can feel that in this. It's kind of going back to that point of when Spirit said there's nothing to fix, and I just cycled back to, okay, so how do we fix this? How do we fix the issue? It's hard. It is hard to not feel that there's some, okay, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I specifically do? What action do I take for this? It's hard to not go back into that mindset, especially with something like this, but it's like really the only thing is like a change of frame and a change of mind in the way that I'm thinking and going about things. Really become aware of your perceptions and catch them, like I just did in a way. Catch them to see where they're going and how they're viewing the world and viewing people and viewing yourselves and the experiences that we're all having. Yeah, yeah, it seems like that's what I'm meant to share. I will, even in my own life, have to go back and re-listen to this because I'm in a place where as a person giving this information to people, being the voice of what Spirit just uh, shared to me, I'm not exactly confident that maybe I. How do I put this into words? I'm struggling with communication right now. I'm not too confident that I shared what I wanted to share here. I'm hoping that you got something out of this. Is basically what I'm trying to explain. And I'm sharing the same. I'm wanting to get the same thing out of this that probably people will be watching this video for. And I want to re-listen to see if I actually got that out of this. After doing journeys like this, it's hard to really. I had to take some time to let them marinate, even outside of this journey. Even journeys where I do get something within the actual moment, I'm like, wow, I got a lot from that. I still have to let it marinate from some days, but yeah, I hope I'm gonna just believe that there was something in this that's beneficial for everybody, and even for me, and just the collective in general. And thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna try to do more readings like this more, where I just do collective energy readings, read energy forecast stuff. I do personal readings. If you want your own personal reading, you could, in the link in the bio, book a session with me there. And I don't like mentioning that without mentioning the prices. There are prices to those, which $10 for a 15-minute session, $20 for a 30-minute session. I don't like people just going in there blind without knowing that, oh yeah, these you have to pay for these, but there's a price to them. And if you don't want to pay, that's understandable. I still, again, do stuff like this, and we'll also be doing like free individual readings for people here and there too. So not going to take up too much time with this, so thank you so much for watching, and peace.